We are filming this at the very end when we know it's going to be in the beginning of the show.
And we're drunk.
And we had more drinks than we probably should have. No, that's not true. We're going to have more to come. But be better! Life hacks,
Random advice,
and tips on how to not be an asshole.
from Evan Scot.
I'm Evan.
I'm Scott. And welcome.
We wanted to do like an advice show.
Yeah.
I really love Dan Savage and Esther Perel, and I love podcasts. And I always thought it'd be really fun to do one. So we thought, why not? We're trapped inside all day.
Right? So welcome to our living room. We've been testing and experimenting with social media, and a lot of people have been asking us advice on various things we post, and they just seem to care what we say. So we thought, why don't we just put a show together and hopefully maybe put a smile on your face and help you be better.
Yeah, so here we go. We're gonna play some games, answer some questions, and feel free to reach out to us. You can look me up at Evan Todd here on Instagram. You can look Scott up
At George Glass, the imaginary boyfriend of Jen Brady.
If you're old, you'll get that joke.
I'm old. The whole goal here is that we want to crowdsource this. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, or you think like we got it wrong and you want to fact check us, then please tell us, because we all want to be better, right?
Yeah,
So let's start. Act 1, on the spot. We've chosen 3 questions for each other, and neither of us knows what we're going to be asked.
In the future, we want you guys to submit these questions.
Yes.
So go to our Instagrams, click the website, and it'll take you to a Google form that you can fill out.
And you can submit the questions. So for now, we want to set up the categories of what we'll be discussing. So being better, we'll be looking at shit going down.
Yeah, that's gonna be current events.
Humaning.
Yeah, self-help, relationship advice with friends, family, loved ones.
Life hacking.
Oh, that's my favorite. It's like tips and tricks on things to do around the house or traveling, or basically any life admin stuff that you guys might want advice on.
Pretty and smart things.
Arts and sciences. I want to talk about all the artsy things.
I want to talk about all the science things.
So between the two of us, hopefully we can answer all of your questions on string theory.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Yeah, my favorite. I love talking about sex. I think we should have more sex. I think we should be less serious about everything.
I think our moms are watching this.
I don't care.
Okay.
My mom, I hope you have a great sex life that's varied and sex positive and awesome.
Mom, I'm glad you do, and I don't want to hear about it. Abrupt Shift.
Just anything random, anything you want. Basically a wild card.
There you
Come
go.
here, Cooper. Come on.
Cooper
Come here.
also wants to be.
Oh, shit.
So even though it's on the cutting room floor, Cooper just crashed into the teleprompter, ripped the cord out. The production values are through the roof here.
Killing it. Look at how we can look straight ahead, but still you can.
Do you know what? I can get away from PowerPoint, but it can't get away from me.
We're gonna try and answer some of your questions about things, so feel free to submit really anything, and we'll take it from there.
Shit going down. Evan, you're on deck. So as we said before, you're going to be asked a question and you don't know what it is.
All right.
And I want you to talk about,
I don't have to close my eyes.
what do you think about the New York City shutdown?
Oh, well, you know what? This is a great time to talk about this. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's this crazy moment in history where that's sort of unprecedented, and like hasn't happened in our lifetime. So why not take advantage of it? Like, I weirdly am very calm right now, and I think that's because I left the show that I was in. I'm used to being an unemployed actor in between jobs, and so I feel like the whole world is caught up. But I also think it's this unbelievable time to be able to be with yourself, be at home, be with a person that you love, and be at rest. There's not much silence in the world, especially in New York City. Like, it's crazy. We can open our windows and you can hear wind, and usually I've never heard wind in New York. There isn't much quiet in New York City, and this is an amazing opportunity where we actually get to sort of be with ourselves collectively. I feel like ahead of the curve. I feel like the world has actually slowed down, and New York City for the first time ever has slowed down, and this is our chance to be ahead. This is our chance to get ahead. I feel weirdly great about it. It feels like this very strange moment. Yes, there's a lot of unknown, but there's also an incredible opportunity that we all get to have where we can waste it, or we can take advantage of it and try and create some stuff. Humaning. All right, Mr. Scott. This is your question.
Speaking of being better, I should put a hyphen in there. So, okay,
all right.
You got me.
I'm not a big fan of grammar. I don't really care.
I love it. It's important.
Yeah, but sometimes he's a robot because he's using it so much. But anyway.
It's true.
Help my partner, kids, parents.
Are driving me crazy.
So this is an example of where Scott wants to be grammatically correct, and it loses all form, function, and it doesn't sound like it's a human.
Not true. I'm gonna put this out there and ask for my grammar you-know-whats to correct it, because you could have been singular or plural.
All right. Well, we're not writing a letter. This is terrible. This doesn't sound like a human would ever say it. But I think what it's asking is, hey, we're in quarantine. My partner's driving me fucking nuts. What can I do about it?
He is. Partner distancing. All right, let's take this a step further. So one of the authors Evan really likes, he talks about, is Esther Perel. And she talks about the idea that this romantic notion that we've grown up with about two becoming one and fusing together, it's really sweet. But the problem is it absolutely kills romance. And it actually kills desire, because you're just on top of each other all the time.
Yeah, she has a great book called Mating in Captivity. Yeah, where she talks about when partners are fused together, there's no chance for eroticism to live. Mating in Captivity is how do you keep eroticism and lust alive in a committed relationship when eroticism and lust and all of these passion in a relationship requires kind of the opposite of what a committed relationship requires. So when now it's magnified times a million, because we're literally living on top of each other and we're in quarantine together. Mm-hmm. So how do you create that space for not only eroticism but passion and love to flourish?
Right, and not murder. I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
So we have.
How do you do it, Scott?
I don't know. So we have actually been, fortunately or unfortunately, in this situation where we're both unemployed for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing this for a few months now. So hey, if you want some free tips, is creating space. Like, we all need time to be alone. We all need times to be in our own heads, to listen to music, to chill out. Sometimes it's good to go listen to Britney Spears in your bedroom alone. We all need times to be in our own heads, to listen to music, to chill out. And we've been deliberately creating space, and it's been awesome, because then we get to have our free time to ourselves, but then we get to rediscover each other. We get to talk about what we've done.
If you got a one bedroom, one person's in the bedroom, one person's in the living room. If you have a 2-bedroom, great, awesome. If you have a studio, that was your choice. If you're lucky enough, we're really fortunate. A friend of ours has an apartment around the corner, and I've been leaving. It's the only time I leave the apartment, every couple of days to go over there and have like office hours where I have time to myself. And it's been really, really good.
Yeah, and all the things that I feel like I want to do, like reading a book, it's a very insular act, and now I don't have to feel guilty about it, because I can just do it during office hours, and then he and I reconnect and have dinner, and
don't feel guilty about it. Like, seriously,
yeah.
You guys you're quarantined together, so even if you've been in a long distance relationship and are used to spending a lot of time apart, and now suddenly you're on top of each other and you feel like you should be taking advantage of that. Know your limits and know that it's not an indication that your relationship is failing if you want to spend some time away from your partner. If anything, I think it's healthy for everybody.
I agree. So in closing, we do a lot together. We do the working out together, we clean together, we do lots of things together, but we also put in a little bit of partner distancing every day to give each other some space. The end.
Yay!
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, next question. Oh.
So how can we use points to travel for free? Oh, I am a travel hacker. That's something I'm really proud of, that I really appreciate. When my mom turned 60, I told her that I would take her on a trip to Italy, because she's this Italian Catholic from Philly who's awesome and like sounds like this. She had never left the country, never gone, well, she'd gone like Canada, but she'd never gone to Italy. I was completely unemployed. I didn't have much savings, and she asked me, hey, how much should this trip cost? Like $3,000? And in the back of my head, I was like, ooh, yes, we could do a $3,000 trip around Italy, but she would hate it. She would be backpacking, we'd be staying in hostels, we'd be able to do like 2 weeks or so, but it would be intense. And then I started Googling things, and I came across this article that said how my $30,000 trip to Thailand cost $285. It was from 10x Travel, so 10timestravel.com. And I read it, and while I didn't understand all of the details, I understood the general concept, which was there are basically 2 ways of travel hacking. One, you use the points that you get from your cards from your everyday spend, and you stick with one particular card, or you have a couple of cards that you jump back and forth between, like, because you know that if you spend groceries on this card, you get points, and if you spend money on this card for Amazon purchases, you get points, and you use those points, right? This was different. This was for every credit card sign up that you have, you get a certain bonus. And usually it's like 50,000 points or some really great deal. And you can collect those bonus offers and move forward and collect a ton of points that you can then turn into a trip. So I understood the concept. I actually wrote to the guy from 10x Travel. And long story short, I reverse engineered this trip with my mom. It was 18 days through Italy and Amsterdam. And I calculated it all up, and it was like $16,000 trip that ended up costing $482. Yeah.
If we had graphics right now, there'd be some crazy thing happening.
It's not illegal,
Yes.
but that's how I have traveled basically ever since. Like I mostly use points, and I reverse engineer a trip, figure out where I'd stay, what flights I would take, what credit cards I need in order to get those points, and then I just use those points. We can do a whole episode on travel hacking, but that's how I travel for free. Look up travel hacking. I'm sure you probably have a lot of questions about your credit and your this and your that, but 10x Travel, or the points guy, is pretty good, but I like 10x Travel. Check them out, but that's how I travel for free.
It's free money.
It's free money, and
It's free money.
I looked at it more as like a hobby. It became a hobby.
Pretty and smart things. So again, arts and sciences, but broadly speaking, history, etc.
Yeah, they get it.
All right.
All right. How can I make my smart home less dumb?
Okay. So if you don't know us, actually you're amazing. Like our house is Alexified. We've got smart switches and the Alexas have all the different names because they all listen to each other, and so we had to rename them different things so they don't conflict. So everything's more or less synced up.
Pretty
By
much.
and large, thanks to Evan, and so it's great. Like
When we were roommates, both of us moved in together, and he was like, I really want to make the house smart. And I was like, great, so do I. So we were on board.
But making it less dumb is the question. So what we've learned along the way, this also borderline into what I do professionally is tech and digital consulting, is unfortunately smart homes aren't necessarily intuitive because a lot of the key players like Amazon, Google, Apple, they're all fighting each other to control the smart home. So what happens is we often end up with devices that don't communicate well or conflicting experiences, or if anyone's ever tried to beam anything, you know you've got like Apple TV and Netflix and Amazon, and they're all trying to eat each other's lunch. How do you simplify that? Broadly pick one and stick to it. So we stuck with Amazon. We tried Google Home, but we stuck with Amazon in our house. But then now when it comes to streaming services, if we were to focus on that, I'm really paying attention to Apple TV.
Well, we chose Alexa because at the time, and still now, it integrated easier. Even though we're big Apple fans, like it felt like everything worked with Alexa and not everything necessarily worked with Google or Apple. So pick one, stick with it.
And just know where they excel. I think Alexa's great for smart home. I think Apple TV is amazing for viewing TV shows and streaming things online. So I would say experiment, but try to pick one and focus on its best attributes. And hopefully that's a good answer.
Yeah, I say Alexa, honestly. If you're listening, Amazon, with Alexa, you just say Alexa, so anytime you say the name, like she hears you.
Yeah.
It would be really smart if there was another word that came before.
Yeah, like yo, because my sister's name is very similar to her name, and it's very tedious whenever I mention
surprised
her.
that she hasn't perked up since we've said her name so many times. Next, me.
Next, Evan. Ooh.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about
all the good things and the bad things that may be.
We can. Oh, that actually didn't sound too bad.
We were all right.
We might layer in the actual music.
All right, here we go. Ready? And you're up.
Does watching trans porn make me gay?
Scandalo.
Oh, scandalo. Okay, first of all, I love questions like this. Okay, so I'm going to assume that we're talking about a guy who identifies as straight, who's watching trans porn, and does that make him gay?
Yes.
No. Okay, and even be more specific. Because Dan Savage has mentioned many, many times that he gets this question all the time from women who contact him and say, hey, my husband or my boyfriend is watching porn and it's trans porn, which I'm going to assume means male to female trans porn. Does that make him gay? And instinctively I'm like, no, gay guys don't watch male to female trans porn. And they've actually done studies and I guess I could try and find this study and post it somewhere, but like, just trust me, because I've heard this from reputable sources. There actually have been studies where they've shown that straight men watch trans female,
male to female porn.
right, trans female porn.
Right.
So if you are a woman and your boyfriend is watching trans female porn, don't freak out. That should be an indication that he's actually straight. This whole, I don't think we should get too wrapped up in gay, straight. No, there's a whole spectrum, and I think we round up to the thing that we most closely identify with for others, right? I identify as gay because I can round up to and comfortably round up to the label gay,
Right.
because it helps other people and myself more easily identify with someone else who's gay, or helps another person identify me as gay, right? I think my sexuality is way more complex than that and more interesting than that, and that's great. And we can, like, everyone can have a long conversation about the complexities of their sexual identity and orientation. But I think labels help each other, and I think that we find the label that, like, is closest to where we are. But I think that you can be a straight guy, identify as straight, watch trans porn, and I don't think that changes your identity. If anything, studies have shown it reaffirms your straightness.
Can I rescue you from hopefully negative comments though? If you're still listening and you haven't started griping in the comments below, labels can include things like fluidity and bisexuality.
Yeah.
The whole point is how you choose to say that you move through the world, not necessarily pigeonholing, right?
Well, yes, there are a million different labels, and I know how powerful it is when you find the label that you feel closest to. Like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that there was actually a word for the thing that I am, and I identify with that thing. Absolutely. And we get to have nuanced conversations with the people we love about the labels that we most identify with. But I also think, just like for succinctness, gay, straight, bisexual, and then there's queer. For me, at least, there's those four labels that sort of...
I like queer.
Yeah, queerness encompasses all of the things that are in between those labels.
All our straight friends, all our fluid friends. Yeah, you're just like, look, I'm just not heteronormative.
Yeah, queer, to me, at least, is a quick way of being like, I'm queer. I don't necessarily identify with those specific, very binary labels. Queer sort of encompasses all of them. But then within that, yeah, there's a million other labels that people want to identify with, that they do identify with, that I think they should have those conversations. But in general, I'm not upset when we kind of limit the labels to those four, just for like succinctness and to be clear. But so does watching trans porn make me gay? No, I don't think it makes you gay. I think you can identify as straight. I think if that's how you identify. I also think that if you don't identify as straight and you identify as queer because you're interested in trans porn, that's also cool. Like, I think your sexual orientation is defined by your emotional attraction more than your sexual attraction, which I think most people agree with, but it's sort of a bit of a like, oh wait, really? But when you really think about it, I think who you want to spend your life with, who you can fall in love with, is more important than who you may be sexually attracted to in a particular moment.
How about that? So just bang who you want to bang and put a sticker on it so we all know what's up.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess.
Next question. Abrupt shift. How can we all stay sane during the crazy? Whoa. Okay, that's a great question. Okay, ready? Structure and humor. That's what I'm going to say. So I personally am trying to have structure in my day. So I'm holding myself accountable for my day. It's very easy to sleep in. It's very easy to go off schedule and just never leave the couch. So I personally am attending like a professional seminar every Sunday and every Tuesday where I'm connecting with other people, and it's amazing because everyone's stressed out, everyone's freaked out. One guy's a lawyer, one girl works in music entertainment, and we're all feeling the same feels. So for me, it's about having that structure, which then gives me accountability because we have assignments throughout the week that we have to achieve around like health and wellness and whatnot. So every day, trying to have a bit of structure to my day, and we're doing better at that, which is amazing. The other one is humor. So on my social media, you'll see that I'm posting people that I think are funny and lighthearted and all that, because this shit is scary and it's stressful. So we need a little bit of levity and we need a bit of humor. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I'm an actor and I guess maybe this is the same with anybody who is an independent contractor or sort of works for themselves. They have to create their own schedule so that they can find some sort of fulfillment or feeling like they're moving forward in some way, right? Like when you don't have a school telling you what you're supposed to be doing every hour, or you don't have a boss who's telling you what you're responsible for. You have to create your own schedule. You have to create your own world, essentially. And so I'm used to this feeling. Yeah, there's some differences, like you can't leave the house, and you're around the same people all the time, and whatever. But in general, I think the thing that most people are struggling with is this sense of like, what am I supposed to do with my time when I'm just inside? And yeah, I think creating a schedule that you can stick to, so there's a sense of accomplishments. I also think creating goals and making goals. Like, I'm gonna be inside for the next 4 to 8 weeks. I wanna create some physical goals. Like, I'm about to take a bunch of measurements because I don't have a scale. Don't own a scale, that's bullshit. But like, I wanna take some measurements and be like, I wanna see how much muscle I can gain, how much, what I can, like those sort of things that are measurable. I'm excited about that. Like, I'm curious how much progress I can make physically while contained in here just with bands. Or I wanna sit down and like, work on a project that I've been putting off for months and months, if not years, because I have time to. Or even like a less project oriented and more like well-being oriented, reaching out to friends that I haven't talked to in a long time to have a meaningful conversation. We're having way more meaningful conversations with people.
Yeah, well, I mean, the genesis of this whole idea, you guys, it's obvious, is we're like, wait, let's do something creative, and let's this is to replace the lack of interactions we're having with people. We're like, we miss having a bit of banter with people, so we're like, let's use technology to do so. Yeah
I also think like it's kind of crazy. I feel like I feel more connected to a lot of people in my life than I have in a really long time, because of the quality of the conversations we're having, because no one really has any place to be. So even people who are working from home, it's like no one has anything that they're rushing off to, so the quality of the conversations are just so much better.
I agree.
Which I think there's something to learn in all of this. This is in the book of our life. This is going to be the tiniest chapter, but I think it can be a really meaningful one.
I think everything's going to change. Also,
well, yeah, everything might change, but like the actual like time we spend inside where we're not allowed to go outside is going to be a really small chapter.
For sure. I mean, I
do think everything's going to change.
Yes, all the best experts say that if we do this the right way, we're going to look back on it and be like, it's a big deal. But that's the point. I don't want to get into the whole idea about the demand on hospitals versus lowering the curve.
No,
I think you all heard
that. We all have.
You've heard that, but my point being is that we want this to be just big deal. But ideally, this has taught us all something about how we can connect in different ways and how we can live different lives, better lives. I think about all the things I took for granted when I could go outside and just go to a museum or go to the park. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. And now that I can't, I'm like, fuck. There's this idea, I'm being real, there's this idea of immediacy that I wasn't seizing before. That now, when and if this all blows over, I'm gonna seize the day much more than I used to. Did I steal your question? I did. I
think the format now is going to be we both just answer the
questions. All right. Be better. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. And please write in and let us know what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Freeze frame.
We are filming this at the very end when we know it's going to be the beginning of the show. And we're drunk, and we have more drinks than we probably should. No, that's not true. We have more to come. But